thanks for joining us. I'm excited today to sit down with Stuart Smith. Now, he has been our executive director for nearly 5 years this fall now. And so with that, I want to sit down and just get to share a little bit more with you all about his story. So Stuart, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Travis. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited for our conversation, and I've gotten to be along for a lot of this journey somewhat here and there over the years. But I'm excited to have this conversation and get to share it with our audience. So with that, to start, Stuart, can you tell us a little bit about, your life before being the director here at LoveINC, and how you kind of came to hear about LoveINC in this position that you're now in?
Yeah, I'll try and make a obviously long story short as possible and as exciting as possible. And so I was been in youth ministry. I've been in pastoral ministry for a number of years. Been probably over 20 plus years in pastoral type ministry, and volunteering from volunteering to staff to many other things, both here and even abroad as well. And so I was in Vancouver at a large church in Vancouver as the mission and outreach pastor. I was there for almost 5 years as well, and really enjoyed myself, really enjoyed what was going on there. Some of my challenges that I was facing was I really have more of a standard LoveINC mindset. In the idea of really comes from the idea of Ephesians 4:11-12 is that we want to equip the saints for the work of ministry. That's the idea, the mindset that I took in my position at this church in Vancouver. Really wanted to see the people within our congregation doing work so that the Lord gets the glory through their hands, their skills, their abilities, and whatnot. And it seemed to me in that location, in my experience, that was a constant battle with the church executives. And it was frustrating. And so, I really found myself just going, I can't change the dynamics in the culture to what I feel is a biblical response to helping people in need. Not just helping people in need, but then also mobilizing the local church members, community members within the church that are paying their tithes and offerings. In my mind, the people paying their tithes and offerings are there to help not just subsidize church experiences and the lights and the sound system and everything else, but it's so that they can be fed well enough so that when they go out to their community, whether it be their work or whatever that would be, that they have the equipment to be able to share the gospel and be evangelical. And so I was already up at that location building a LoveINC model, not even knowing what LoveINC was. And so when I kind of really did come to my last straw, and on a personal note, and recognize that it's a great church, it's not a great church for me. And so my wife and I both worked for the church at the time, and so we started looking for other jobs. And so my wife actually found this job, LoveINC. So she was the one that I think it was on Indeed or something like that. She found the posting and she shared it with me, and I sent my resume in. And within a week, I was shaking hands and signing contracts, basically, or whatever, for my employee agreement. And so, it's been an incredible journey to get here.
Yeah, I remember getting to be there with you on kind of the tail end of your time there. That was the beginning of my time working at that church, and getting to work alongside you, I just enjoyed that. And so as you came down here and shared with me about it, I was curious and very intrigued. What is this LoveINC thing he's talking about? I remember coming down here a couple of times with you early on and just thinking like, wow, this is a really unique ministry, a really unique organization. And so I'm curious, what interested you in this opportunity? Obviously, you were kind of in the headspace. You were needing to find an alternative place to work. But what was it about LoveINC that you were like, oh, this is interesting. I'm going to send my resume. I'm going to apply for this. I'm going to talk to them.
Yeah, I think the initial idea is that I was fishing, because I was actively looking for work at the time. And so just doing that was already interesting to me, just knowing a little bit about what it was, doing some research online and research with LoveINC National, some research on this affiliate and what we do. And so I think in that space of just investigating what the core tenets of LoveINC is, what the model is, really intrigued me. Even in the mission, I'm a very big on mission statement kind of a guy. And so when you're saying that we're going to mobilize the local church to transform lives and communities, like that speaks to the core of who I am. Again, that's what I was trying to build unbeknownst to myself, that's what I was trying to build within because I was overseeing both local and global missions. So I was building this whole procedure of someone coming out of the pews, going into the community, do some food drive, and then it builds into them becoming foster parents all the way. Then all of a sudden they're missionaries in some foreign nation. Like I had a whole journey. And so I was building all this stuff because I wanted to see the church to be mobilized out in the community. And so, to hear the mission statement of Love Inc. really spoke to the core of who I was.
Yeah. Okay. So what was it like then? It sounds like it was a very quick transition into this role. What was that like as you began to start coming around here at Love Inc., learning from the previous director and trying to figure out where are we going? What am I doing now?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I had to develop was some of those leadership skills. I've always been an associate pastor or a youth pastor, so I've always been in those middle management kind of an idea where I had some responsibility, but not all the so developing that, and then also developing our staff, because when I came on, I was new, but then the individuals that came with me, specifically Shannon and Julie at the time, they came on as new as well. And so we all had to learn, I had to learn very quickly what it meant to be a leader over a staff and with all those responsibilities, and then direct them on how they would need to be the connection center lead and our executive assistant and all these things. And none of us knew what any of those things were. So here I'm supposed to lead them in those areas. And, so we're just trying to figure out some of this position. And so it was great for us because it gave us the ability to learn without any other fragments of other people's history. So we really developed almost a new Love Inc. from the ground up in some respects. That met not in the Love Inc., but that met our personalities. So that was really helpful.
Okay. Yeah. And so how has your understanding of Love Inc. adapted over now the first 5 years that you've been here as the director?
Right. And like I mentioned, I'm a big mission statement person and vision as well, vision statement person. Those mean a lot to me. If you're going to say that this is our mission to achieve a certain goal or meet a certain destination, then all of the tenets that are supporting that should be supporting it accurately. And with what I could see, I really struggled with two things: the term or the definition of transformation and mobilization. Like those are the two big words that I'm looking at, and I'm quite frankly, I was not seeing things that I felt was a standard. And so I could easily see that there was some mobilization of the church, but there wasn't enough that would actually get the full church involved. So unless every single church had a huge gap ministry, then there was no you couldn't mobilize. And so that was a big challenge for me. And then I also, when I looked at the word transformation, I was really kind of concerned with how we were doing our work, in the way that we were providing. I could see some evidence, but not enough that I was satisfied with in that term transformation. And so in my mind, the term transformation isn't, and Lois talks about this in some of her videos, is you have the first order change and the second order change. And the first order change is that their economical or social position is a little bit better. But then the second order change is a change of the heart. And I didn't see that. And so those two things, I brought those two items to the board, and I just said, this is what I believe our mission statement is about, what it's trying to communicate, and I'm not seeing that in our history, in our current history. And so I just asked for the permission to kind of flip things around a little bit and really have a higher focus and quality and mobilization, with the hopes that it would transform lives and mobilize the church. And so I'm excited to share that, that's over the past, 4 years that we've been able to achieve a lot of those things now.
Right. Yeah, I remember some of those early stages when you were kind of wrestling with like, what is our mission? Are we really working towards that? And what do we need to do differently? I remember some of those shifts. I was still kind of irregularly a part of what you guys were doing here at the time, but getting to see those early stages and changing to kind of what it is now and our focus now. how we really try and focus on mobilizing those church members to go and do that work. Yeah, it's been cool to see that shift, that change over time. And so I guess this kind of goes into what you were just saying just a little bit, but what kinds of misconceptions did you have about LoveINC when you first started? And then obviously it seems like there have been some that have shifted out. What were points that those misconceptions suddenly you realized, oh, it's supposed to be more like this or like that? What was that like?
Yeah, so I bought into the idea, my understanding at least, is that LoveINC was a poverty alleviation ministry. And I thought we were supposed to help people out of poverty. I thought we were supposed to help people that were in need. I thought we were supposed to service people. And I thought that's what LoveINC was at the time. And albeit that's what a lot of other nonprofits do and what they are. And I'm not saying that there's anything that's wrong with any of that necessarily, but that's not the LoveINC mission statement. The beginning of our mission statement is not, we are going to help people in poverty. Because people are poor, LoveINC is going to do this. Our mission statement begins with mobilizing the local church. And so that as soon as that switch came on, that's all that I could focus on at that point. So at that point, volunteer hours were more important to me than anything else. And I became kind of almost like not obsessed, but very, very interested in how do we calculate hours? Because if the mission statement is correct, if we mobilize the church, then transformation will happen. And so because we're not mobilizing the church enough, we're not seeing transformed lives. And so we started really calculating that, and now we're even reporting those hours. And so those first misconceptions of LoveINC was, I thought we were and I remember even sharing this with the staff, like, everybody read these books on poverty. We got to be professionals at poverty. We got to know what's going on in our community, be professionals at the needs in Clackamas County. And those are all not bad things to focus on. But once you focus on them, you stop focusing on our mission statement of mobilizing. So it's good for us to have knowledge of how to help people in poverty. But if we are not professionals in mobilization, then we lose the battle of that mission statement.
Yeah. And that's a helpful thing for all of us, focusing on like, what is our mission? I know it can be easy to kind of focus in because there's so much out there about helping people in poverty, which is a very important thing. And is something that to some extent we want to see people in poverty being helped, but not by necessarily the efforts that we are directly doing, but by the efforts that the people we're working with are doing. We want to be working with the church and see them doing that work, transforming the lives in the community, because it's about them doing that, not about us.
Yeah. Well, and again, the Lord, and I've shared this before, the Lord at the end of Matthew and the beginning of Acts, he set the church as the anchor point to save and to help and to assist those that are lost, are needy. And you think about all of that stuff, it's like the church is supposed to be the position where all that, not a LoveINC, not a nonprofit. When Jesus was ascending, he says, oh, and by the way, set up nonprofits to fix all this stuff. He set the church up as the foundation.
Yeah. And so now that, we've had these shifts over the last couple of years, and in many ways there's been a lot more clarity around our mission and the work we do at LoveINC. Where do you see the next 5 or so years taking this affiliate? Yeah,
that's a great question, and difficult for me to answer in a short amount of time, because one of my problems as the leader is I am a visionary. And so I have no problem talking to vision. But I really believe that the transformation we are seeing currently in our participants in our Healthy Habits program is something that needs to be reviewed by our church partners, because the work that we are hoping to do, the work that we've been aspiring to do, the work according to our mission statement is actually happening right now. We have individuals, and we're following 4 individuals total, but 2 that are participants in our program and 2 that are volunteers in our program. And what is happening is we have 2 individuals that are come through the Connection Center. That's where everything begins. Nothing starts outside of the Connection Center. So they're coming through the Connection Center, getting some of their requests. They're starting to get some exposure. Then we begin inviting them to the program. Once they're at the program, we start just doting on them and loving them with this love that they've never actually even seen before. They're learning things about themselves. They're learning things about community. They're learning things about people. They're learning things about interacting and having conflict resolution to a degree. And all of that with a what we call a trail guide, but a mentor that is walking with them and caring for them. And over that course of time, we see individuals like starting asking questions about God and about not only about God, but also like, where do you, as an individual, where are you worshiping your God? And so what happened in this one individual, she's never attended a church, never owned a Bible. Her friend that she brought with her day one was from the Mormon background and has left that church for a number of years. So these people have been unchurched for a long, long time. Part of our program, we do invite them to attend church, or what is their spiritual relationship with anything? Well, to save a little bit of time with this video, she was invited to church. She said yes. She showed up and went with this volunteer of ours and was just in awe of what this whole thing is. Her preconceived notion about what church was completely wrong. And the two volunteers, the one particular volunteer, gave her a Bible. She's never had a Bible before. Gave her a Bible, and then she's now been attending church ever since. So she's been probably at least a dozen times now since she's gone to the first time. Her and her friend. Now, the cool part for me, that's beautiful in and of itself. So the program is working. She's transforming. She's used the statement, I feel like a sponge. Like, I don't remember the last time I used that term when I was reading my Bible. I feel like a sponge, but I was probably pretty young, So for her to say that is telling me that there's transformation, a second order transformation going on right there. The thing that I love more about this than anything within this story are the two volunteers that attend the same church with this individual. They took it upon themselves. So we only said, hey, this is our model going up to this. So invite them to church. And then if they need a Bible, get them a Bible. So that's the end of our model that we designed. They, on their own, decided to connect with the pastors of the church that they attend, and they started a new believers Bible study.
Wow.
With these individuals. That is incredible. To be able to see two individuals catch this vision for these people's life and journey with them, and then say, you know what, we've not been given any more rope from Love Inc., so we're going to create our own new rope now. And we're going to develop this new stage going with these individuals because that's what these people need. That to me is radical. Yeah. So vision moving forward in the future is, because the county is so big, 420 plus thousand people, I think it's at 800 to 8,000, whatever square mile, whatever it is. It's huge, from I-5 all the way to the tip of Mount Hood Timberline. So we have a huge, so my vision for moving forward is to have a church planter's mindset and put this program into every little community hotspot. We have one person that loves being here, and she's actually had her own transformation. I'll share in a video coming up, but she travels by bus an hour and 15 minutes each way just to be in this program. To me, that's beautiful. Like I really am grateful for the sacrifice, but it makes me sad that a church near her isn't picking it up. Right. So the vision moving forward is to develop more of this program into the subset of the neighborhoods within our community. So if we can do that all the way to Welch's, to Wilsonville, I think that would be a very sweet thing to do in the next 5 years. And all it is, we have all the framework. It's like we got the whole package. Like we have everything we need to do this. It's really about capacity, and the capacity is financing and people. We just need for every participant that goes through the program, we need at least one volunteer to sit with them. Mm. And right now we have 270 plus people on a waiting list right now wanting into this program.
Wow.
270 people that want to be transformed. And 82% of all of our calls and all of our people that are coming through this, and you know the number, 82% of these individuals are unchurched. Mm-hmm. So we are literally moving into new territory of growth for the church. Yeah. We're not building a new building and we're just shifting Christians into another location.
Right.
We're making new Christians
right.
because of this program. And I think that's one thing I think that I would love to see is the church jumping on it.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question, how has your time here as the executive director really changed you as a person outside of just professionally, your time as the executive director, but how has it changed you in your life?
Yeah, I think the area of redemptive compassion as part of our philosophy has really moved me to not just understand the needs of our community, but understand the opportunity for the church. The church has got such a great opportunity to serve, but it's just going under the radar, and that's a hard thing. So for me, it's recognizing the potential, but having enough grace for the current position of our church. And I mean church by large, not just our network and things like that. I think our network is coming around and understanding it. And I think that that's the important part, is that my personal development is just my love I have for the church and how much potential it has. And I can really see our community growing and developing and shaping in a way that I would love to see. I mean, I think it was maybe you know the quote by, I think it's G.K. Chesterton that said it. It says, our goal as Christians is not to get to heaven. Our goal as Christians is to bring heaven down. And that's what I love seeing within the LoveINC church framework.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really unique in how it brings the church outside of its four walls, you know? And so, yeah. So what has been, I'm going to put two questions in one. What has been your greatest struggle in your role here as the executive director, and what's been your greatest joy?
Yeah, some of my greatest struggles, just as a person, I've always struggled with the imposter syndrome, and that's always been an issue for me. You know, early in my ministry, I was in some meetings at Luis Palau that I was a kid. I probably didn't belong there, but I was there, and I just really, I've always felt that in almost all my circles that I've ever served in, is that there's people around me are much more deserving than I am to be in these spaces. So I think in that space, my struggle has always been imposter. Now I'm the executive director, and that carries its own weight, its own, challenges mentally in my mind of identifying as an executive director and calling myself the boss or leading a team of people. Because in my personal opinion is that titles are titles and positions are positions, but I'm like, none of us can do any of this if we're not doing it together. So it's like, I need you to be in your position. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it, and I'm going to do it much worse. And I need Shannon in her position. So I think my struggle has always been is being comfortable with the director title, I guess. And then I think some of my so stepping more deeply into that role is what I've been challenging myself recently. Some of my joys is actually working with you guys, with the staff. That is probably one of the more fun things that I get to do. I think there's such a unity in the vision and the direction that we are headed to get the church into a position where congregants within the congregation are actually in the community doing work. Like, we all want that. Most of our staff meetings either begin or end with that type of a meeting. How are we going to do this? And so I'm so grateful that we have a very strong element to our team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that brings me joy.
Well, okay. Last question to wrap up our time. If you could go back 5 years to when you were in that season of contemplating transition, what does that look like, and finding this job and applying and getting this position, if you could tell yourself anything 5 years ago from what you've learned since, what would you tell yourself?
That is a tough question. Because there's so much that I've learned, and there's so much, I would say there's been a lot of development. I think, what would I tell myself is that it's going to be hard, but it's going to be good. And, all good work, all good things come with hard work. Whether it be a garden to building a house to building an organization, or, it's all going to be good, and it's all good work, and it's all good work for him. So I think what I would share with myself is just remain patient. to enjoy. And I think some of it too is enjoy the process. So yeah, I don't know if I would give myself any warnings or anything like that, or give me a heads up, because I don't want to. Yeah, the Lord doesn't do that for us usually.
Yeah.
And I think it's for a reason. So yeah.
And a lot of those difficult parts are very formative, for sure.
For sure. I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I didn't go through the heartaches, not just in LoveINC, but other challenges as well. So yeah,
definitely.
So, and I, for the most part, I like myself. And it's not in that way, but I'm like, I like myself, how the human that I am,
Yeah.
And so I don't really live with any regrets, even though I've done some stupid things.
All right. Well, thank you, Stuart, for your time and just this insight you've provided us. We appreciate everything you do as our director and leading us and the vision you cast for us. It's guided us to where we are today. So thank you for that. And thanks for your time sharing with us. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you read the posts accompanying this video. Hear some more of our thoughts, some of Stuart's thoughts even, of how things have come in the last 5 years in his time here with us. And make sure you tune in about 2 weeks for our next video. And make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave any comments if you have any thoughts or questions on it. And we'll see you again next time. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you.